For this video, we're going to look at finding asymptotes. Now, you have to look at the degree of your problem in order to discover which kind of asymptote you might have. If we look at this problem, the degree of the numerator is 1, the degree of the denominator is 2. What we want to do first is look at vertical asymptotes. The vertical asymptotes are anything that would make the denominator 0. So what you want to do to find the vertical asymptote is take the denominator, set it equal to 0, and solve in any of the ways that you know. So what we will do is we will take x squared minus 4, set it equal to 0, and we will solve. You would solve this equation by factoring. If we factor x squared minus 4, we get x plus 2 times x minus 2. If we set each of those factors equal to 0, we will end up with two answers here. Those are actually our vertical asymptotes. We just set the bottom equal to 0 and we solve. That's it for finding the vertical asymptotes. Now, to find the horizontal asymptotes, we need to go back to that idea of the degree. If the degree on the top is less than the bottom, we have the x-axis as the horizontal asymptote. Now, that means the x-axis is actually that horizontal axis, which is the equation y equals 0. So, since the degree on the top is less than the bottom, the horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. You don't have to do any math to determine the horizontal asymptote. If the degree on the top is less than the bottom, y equals 0 is always your answer. If the degree on the top is greater than the bottom, you do not have a horizontal asymptote. Now, if the degree on the top and the degree on the bottom are the same, you will have a horizontal asymptote. So let's look at a problem that meets that criteria. Now, let's do the horizontal asymptote first in this one. For the horizontal asymptote, the two degrees are the same. The degree on the top is 2. The degree on the bottom is also 2. If the degrees are exactly the same, you look at the coefficients of the leading term. If you can find the coefficients of the leading term, you've got your answer. If we look at this one, the coefficient on the top is 8. The coefficient on the bottom is 1. So our horizontal asymptote is y equals the 8 over the 1, which is just 8. That's the horizontal asymptote. Remember to find the vertical one, and we'll do that next. You take the bottom, set it equal to 0, and solve. In this case, we have two vertical asymptotes, x equals -2 and x equals 2. Remember that these are holes in the graph, so at x equals -2 and x equals 2, there will be nothing on your graph.